First vote of the new Congress is expected around noon tomorrow as House Speaker Mike Johnson looks to return the gavel. But just 2 no votes from Republican representatives could derail his reelection. And a messy vote could set the tone for the new Trump administration. So joining us now is Terry Haines, Pangaea policy founder and former Evercore head of U.S. policy and political analysis. Terry, it's great to have you on. I'm going to start right there. How much hinges on this vote, given how action-packed the first 100 days of the Trump tenure is expected to be, and given the fact that we already saw a shakeup over the continuing resolution that investors reacted to going into Christmas?
Right. Good to see you, Morgan, and Happy New Year. I think rather a lot more is at stake here than the dissenters realize. This is intramural political squabble. I think Johnson eventually becomes speaker. There may be a little pain associated with it. But for markets, it's a very big deal, because if you can't organize the House, you can't organize Congress, then markets are going to scratch their heads and conclude, and to some extent rightly already, well, what is it exactly that these folks are going to be able to accomplish? They might not be able to do the tax deal. They might not be able to do a bunch of other things that are very market friendly. So, you know, the negative is really an outsized negative for markets. And I think that's not completely appreciated in the House today.
I know when we did get the outcome of the election, there was a lot of hay made about the fact that we had a red wave, and now this was going to mean a big policy push and maybe a clear path, at least from investors, and what was pricing into the market initially on the heels of the election result. But to your point, you're going into you have a GOP House majority that's essentially going to be 217, at least to start. So when you talk about the fact that maybe there is more uncertainty here, how messy could this be? And when you're talking about taxes, trade and tariffs, immigration, and, oh, by the way, nominations that have to go through the Senate, I guess how delayed potentially could this be?
Well, let me, I think all those are valid questions to ask. Let me knock out confirmations right off the bat, since, as you point out, they're Senate only. And tariffs largely are up to the president himself. But beyond that, all those things require the assent of Congress and the active work in Congress. I do think the tax bill remains pretty likely. And the reason why is that Congress wants to achieve those things. But the margins are very small. I've been warning markets since before the election that if you get a Republican trifecta, expect it to be more fragile than it looks at first blush. Unfortunately, that's what we're getting. And, that redounds to Trump's detriment, frankly. It's a different branch of government, but the whole Republican trifecta idea, Trump is the glue that holds that together. And if people are going to flake even before the first day, even before Trump is acknowledged in the Electoral College as the winner, which happens on Monday, things are going to look very messy very quickly.
Okay, so you can expect tax cuts to be sustained, of course, but then what about this Department of Government Efficiency, about DOGE? Does it get much done? Can it get much done without addressing entitlements?
Well, 2 things on that, John. Firstly, look, I've been in Washington and around Washington for a very long time. I'm in favor of half of whatever Musk and Ramaswamy want to do, and I don't even know what it is. I mean, there's just, that much bloat and that much difficulty in how Washington works. But beyond that, it has no authority, firstly. Secondly, Musk and Ramaswamy can't even agree on the purposes of it or what it might do. Trump's really staying at arm's length from it. And, where the rubber meets the road on this is Congress. And Congress is not about to buy a pig in a poke, as they used to say. And with the idea that any bad thing that happens as a result of efficiencies gets blamed on the members of Congress. That's not smart for congressional re-elections, particularly in the House coming up in 2 years. So there's an awful lot of reasons why the DOGE is more of a mirage than anything else.
Well, to that point, it doesn't take a couple of Washington outsiders, founders, entrepreneurs, to enlighten Washington to the fact that there's a lot of bloat. There have been a lot of people around Washington pointing out that very thing for a while. It's just that nobody wants their stuff cut, right? How does that change?
Well, it doesn't very much. You've summarized it very well. It doesn't very much, and think about it from a perspective of a constituent. Constituents, when they're told that some major government program is about to, administered, is about to change completely, but don't worry, everything will be all right. What they remember is how the Affordable Care Act got off the ground, the website got off the ground or not. Maybe their Social Security checks didn't come. The government's forever forever on the edge of not being funded. All these things are attributed to Washington, and they're not miraculously going to go away. But if a couple of smart guys have new ideas.